You see a lot of tech founder billionaire types looking at space. Now you have Melon.
When you're 5 years old, you're you're only fascinated by a few things, right? Aliens, dinosaurs, volcanoes. 1995 was the first time scientists could definitively prove that there were planets outside of our own solar system. This is a massive renaissance for planetary scientists, to just, really understand our environment beyond our planet and, answer some of those big questions.
Okay, you've built your businesses. I don't know if you're going to become a founder again for anything. You've got a pretty good situation figured out here. You're investing in a number of businesses. You're moving a number of portfolios forward. But let's talk about Melon. And so you see a lot of tech founder billionaire types looking at space. Whether it's the Bezos and now Richard Branson, the Larry and Sergey big with Verily and trying to kind of invest in technology to live forever, basically. Ray Kurzweil, all these kinds of, kind of like I'm a platform tech founder, and what are the literally the moonshot, the space shot initiatives that I'm working on. Now you have Melon, which is a conference that I don't know if it's yours, but you've helped bring together people to talk about extraterrestrial life. And I'll be the first one to say, I absolutely think there are other life forms out there. It's just such a big universe. We don't know really anything about it. Our knowledge is here. There's so much stuff that we don't really understand, even just about our own world, let alone this thing called the universe. I think it's out there. You may call me, people may call me crazy, whatever. But what are your interests? What are your interests when it comes to space, extraterrestrial life, these kinds of things? I'm really interested in it.
When I was a kid, I guess I loved all that sort of stuff. And, sometimes, life gives you a chance to follow some of the passions that you had when you were a kid, right? And Melon was, it's just the first step in that direction. It was a conference which we run in scientists and sci-fi writers and thought leaders. And I recently joined the SETI Institute as one of the board of trustees. And so we're, doing a lot of, and obviously SETI is based in Mountain View, and we have 100 scientists, and they're all focused on whether it's astrobiology or looking for technosignatures or planetary formation or origin of life stuff. So I mean, I'm like intellectually, it's amazing. I think, when you're 5 years old, you're only fascinated by a few things, right? Aliens, dinosaurs, volcanoes, spaceships, stuff like that. And, given the chance to, explore some of those. And I was always a big fan of SETI, like even 20 years ago. And I've just been, grateful that, Bill Diamond and Seth Shostak and Jill Tarter from the SETI Institute were able to welcome me to kind of like participate in, their adventure and their vision. And, and like you, I mean, I believe that, like we're not alone in the universe. There's 100 billion or 200 billion galaxies, and every galaxy has 2 to 500 billion stars, and every star on average has a few planets. I think we know that. And there's a lot of research being done at MIT, even Google's, and even Sergey and Larry. We have to appreciate that. They seeded this amazing telescope called the TESS telescope, TESS, which is managed by MIT, and they're looking for planets within our neighborhood, and the government's getting involved. And, with like the James Webb telescope, which is being developed by Northrop Grumman, and that's supposed to launch in a year or so. And so there's all sorts of cool stuff. And so on one hand, it meets our need as, human beings, we have a need to explore, and we have a need to be creative. We have a need, of course, to affiliate with people like us, like all that silly social stuff. But, and we have a need to achieve, I think, and hopefully we can do all those in some sort of, interesting combination. And yeah, so I'm excited about it. I mean, I think, Seth Shostak, the senior astronomer at the SETI Institute, likes to talk about. So he calls it the real estate theory, like, of the universe. It's like, this is this huge universe, right? Massive. And like, why would you build all this real estate but only have one tenant, right? That's how he thinks about it, right? And it makes total sense to me, right? And so, like, we're just right at the start. By the way, we're just right at the beginning of this, search, and because of new forms of technology and new science. To give you an example, in 1995 was the first time scientists could definitively prove that there were planets outside of our own solar system, meaning planets from, like, orbiting other stars. That's 1995. So all this Star Trek and George Lucas and Star Wars, where we had planets and spaceships and all that sort of stuff. Well, that was all theoretical, right? But only in 1995 did we actually, like, two scientists in Switzerland were able to prove that, right? And of course, they won a Nobel Prize for it. And now we've discovered 5,000 plus planets, and with only looking at, like, a drop in the sky. And so there's going to be tons more, and so this is a massive renaissance for planetary scientists, to just really understand our environment beyond our planet, and possibly life, and answer some of those big questions that way back to the ancient Greeks they've been thinking about.
Hi, this is Alex from Winner Take All. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the content. Feel free to leave a comment, ask us questions, and definitely make sure to join us on our next live stream.